Look at this chart. According to the 2026 Federal Reserve Survey of Consumer Finances, the average household net worth in America has officially crossed $1.1 million. Mathematically, if you are an American, you are a millionaire. So why are you currently worried about the price of a dozen eggs? Why is Frank, our hero today, currently staring at a $2,800 rent invoice for a one-bedroom apartment while his millionaire status is being broadcast on the evening news? The answer isn't that the math is wrong. The math is perfect. The problem is that the math is being used as a statistical camouflage. In the next 12 minutes, we are going to deconstruct the greatest gaslighting campaign in economic history. We're going to look at why the average has become a weapon of mass distraction. We're going to expose the giant, the mean, who is eating your steak while telling you that you've never been fuller. By the end of this video, you won't just understand why you're broke, you'll understand why the system needs you to believe you're actually rich.
To understand 2026, we have to look at 1956. Back then, the economy was a bell curve. Most people lived in the fat middle. If the average net worth went up by 5%, it meant the guy at the factory, the teacher at the school, and the manager at the store all got 5% richer. The mean and the median were neighbors. They lived on the same street. They shopped at the same grocery store. But something happened. The tide stopped lifting all boats and started lifting only the yachts. The data confirms that we have moved into a K-shaped reality. In this world, average is no longer a target. It's a mathematical hallucination created by extreme outliers. If Jeff Bezos walks into a homeless shelter, the average person in that room is suddenly a multi-billionaire. Did anyone's life change? No. But the data says poverty has been solved in that building. This is what we call aggregation bias. In 2026, using the average to measure the health of the middle class is like using the temperature of the sun to tell you what to wear to the beach. Frank isn't failing the average. The average is a ghost that doesn't include him. Meet your landlord. Meet your employer. Meet the guy who prices your healthcare. This is the mean. The mean is the specific enemy of your sanity. When the Federal Reserve discusses consumer resilience, they are looking at the mean. And why wouldn't they be happy? U.S. household wealth is at an all-time high, over $150 trillion. But here is the physical stress of the trap. Prices in 2026 are set based on the mean. If the average household has 1.1 million, then a $9 gallon of milk is a rounding error. If the average household is wealthy, then a $4,000 mortgage is affordable. The mean is bidding up the price of your life because the top 10% own 66% of all the wealth. They have the gravity to set the market price for everything Frank needs to survive. Frank is being forced to live in a world priced for millionaires while earning a median wage that hasn't moved in real terms since the early 2000s. You aren't bad with money. You are just a 5'10" man trying to live in a house where the doorknobs are 12 feet off the ground. Let's apply some financial physics. Welcome to the shared bill at the steakhouse. Frank and 9 of his friends go out to dinner. Frank and 8 of the guys order a side of fries and a tap water. They are being responsible. Their total bill is $50. But the 10th guy, the guy at the head of the table, he orders the $10,000 bottle of wine. He orders the Wagyu steak. He orders a second dessert just to throw it at the wall. The total bill for the table is $11,000. The waiter says, "The average cost per person is $1,100. Pay up, Frank." Frank looks at his fries. He looks at his $14 bank balance. He realizes that the average is a mechanism for wealth transfer. By reporting the average, the system obscures the fact that one person is feasting while 9 people are subsidizing the ambiance. In 2026, the mean is the guy with the wine. The median, that's you, is the guy with the fries being told he's a big spender. This is the Cantillon Effect in action. The people closest to the source of the money, the top of the K-shape, get the steak. By the time the money averages out to you, all that's left is the bill. Let's look at a real-world case study. In 2026, asset inflation is the primary driver of the Millionaire Lie. If you owned a home in 2020, your net worth likely doubled on paper. The mean says, "Congratulations, Frank, you're wealthy." But Frank can't eat his drywall. If he sells the house to realize that wealth, he has to buy another house in the same inflated market at 7% interest. Frank hasn't become wealthier. His cost of survival has simply been rebranded as equity. Meanwhile, the institutional investors, the Vanguards and BlackRocks of 2026, are using that same average growth to borrow billions at lower rates than Frank will ever see. The average wealth increase is actually a signal that the barrier to entry for the next generation has just been raised. Every time the average net worth goes up, a 22-year-old somewhere just lost the ability to ever own a home. This is the ledger leap. The giants are leaping ahead using asset growth, while Frank is trying to jump the gap using savings from a paycheck that is being eaten by 2026 stealth inflation. Here is the truth that will make you want to turn off this video. 99% of the people watching this will never catch the average, because the average is moving at the speed of compound interest on billions of dollars. You are moving at the speed of a 3% annual raise. If you try to save your way to being an average millionaire, you are mathematically doomed. The goalposts aren't just being moved, they are attached to a rocket ship. The system wants you to stay in the optimization trap. They want you to spend your mental energy worrying about $5 subscriptions, while they devalue the currency by trillions. Admit it, the game is rigged to weigh the giants. The moment you stop trying to be average is the moment you can actually start to be free. Now stop feeling guilty. The shame you feel when you look at those average wealth stats is a tool. It's used to keep you from asking, why is this system designed this way? If you have $10,000 in the bank in 2026, you aren't failing. You are a survivor. The millionaire average is a hallucination. Your reality, the struggle to balance rent, health, and a future, is the true American experience. Once you stop measuring your height against a giant, you realize you're actually quite strong. You've survived a decade of the most aggressive wealth concentration in human history. Now, let's talk about how we fight back. To survive 2026, you need to stop playing the average game. Weapon 1: asset capture. The mean is rich because he owns things that inflate. Frank is poor because he owns things that depreciate, like cash. You must move every spare cent into the gravity side of the scale. Stocks, BTC, land, or your own business. If you don't own a piece of the inflation, you are the one paying for it. Weapon 2: skill leverage. In an AI-driven 2026, time is a low-value asset. Stop selling your hours, sell your outputs. The giants don't get paid for their time, they get paid for their position. Position yourself where the math works for you, not against you. Weapon 3, the shield. Reject the average lifestyle. The average American has $60,000 in consumer debt. The average American is a debt slave to the mean. By living below the median, you become invisible to the giant censors. Frank isn't a millionaire on paper anymore. He's something better. He's independent. If the math says you're winning, but your life says you're losing, who are you going to believe? The legacy of your life is not a data point in a government report. The average is a ghost. It doesn't love you, it doesn't know you, and it certainly won't help you when the car breaks down. Build your own scale. Measure your own progress. But even as you master the lie of the average, a new, more invisible wall is waiting for you in the shadows. A force that is currently rewriting what it means to own anything at all. In a world where you are a millionaire, but you own nothing, who really has the power? Next time, we pull back the curtain on the subscription slavery of 2027. Until then, keep your eye on the median. I'll see you in the next one.